Okay. Calling hearing of Tuesday, June 30th, 2020, 12:30 p.m., conference room 229. On 3 governor's messages. We have governor's message 820, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the advisory board on veteran services, gubernatorial nominee Michael Lilly for a term to expire June 30, 2024. And so, can we have Michael Lilly ready? Because I'm going to call off the testifiers list, and Ron Hahn, Director for the Department of Defense Office of Veteran Services and Support, and James Traxler testifying for the Veterans Advisory Board in support as well. So at this time, Michael Lilly.
Aloha.
Aloha. So I'll give you a chance to speak to us on the board right now, on the committee.
Well, it's really been an honor for me to be able to be a part of this board for the last 5 years, because we service 120,000 or so veterans in the state of Hawaii, and plus their families in a way. And we're a vital part of we're their message board to the governor and to the Office of Veteran Services. We're sort of the representative in providing advice and suggestions to the governor through the Office of Veteran Services. And I'm having been a veteran for 30 years, I have a great deal of aloha for our veterans, my brothers, sisters, and brothers in arms. And so being able to be their sort of voice, and now that I've moved to Maui, to be their voice on Maui is and has been a great honor. So I feel very honored to be nominated again. I want to thank you.
Michael, I'm sure Senator Baker is very gratified that you're on her whole island.
Yes.
So, members, any questions to Mike Lilly? No? Okay. We'll take all of the GMs in one motion. So we'll proceed to the next one. And thank you, Mike. We'll go to Governor's Message 821 for Veterans Advisory Board and Veteran Services. And the nominee is Mary Hertog for a term to expire 6/30/2023. And we have written testimony from Ron Hahn, Director of Veterans Services in support, and James Traxler in support. And we have one in opposition, Gerald Silva. So at this time, Harry, you have a chance.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mary Kay Hertog. I live over in Kauai. As a means of introduction, I served almost 34 years in the Air Force and retired to this beautiful island about 8 years ago. I too just want to be an advocate for veterans and make sure that their benefits are safeguarded, as well as highlight the needs of female veterans, which are unique, and the VA is finally starting to address many of those. I'm here to serve. I'm all about service before self, and I think our veterans are very important in terms of having an advocate or a voice to get up to the governor's office and beyond into Washington, D.C. to our congressional delegates as to what they need.
Thank you, Mary. Members, questions? No? Okay. Then in that case, we'll proceed to the next governor's message. We have governor's message 822, excuse me, Ren Calpico, whose term will expire on 6/30/2024. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry.
Ren didn't join us in chat.
Oh, he didn't join us.
We're a little bit early
Oh.
because I scheduled that about 10 minutes for
Oh.
every nominee. So
So-
we're
Much faster than that.
running a little bit ahead of schedule. So he was gonna come on at around 12:50, 12:55-ish.
Okay.
So what you can do is you can,
I'll ask a question then.
Well, go ahead and ask a question.
Yeah, for both of our nominees so far, for Mary and for
Mike.
what would you like to see? What kind of support or other kinds of things would you like to see for veterans that the state might be able to provide? Or could you share a little bit about some of the programs that you have seen be very successful for helping veterans reintegrate into civilian life? Mary, why don't you start?
Thank you. What I would like to see is more timely access to care. By that, I mean quicker, being able to make an appointment quicker. And I realize there's a lot of limitations when you live on an island and you have to fly back and forth from the neighbor islands. I'd also like to see continuity of care. And some of the things that I hear from my fellow and sister veterans is, especially those that are undergoing group therapy sessions, is the therapists seem to turn over frequently. You have 2 or 3 in the space of maybe a year, year and a half. And that really disrupts them when they build that trust with folks. So I'd like to see mainly that in terms of timely access to care and continuity of care. I'd also like to see the women's veterans needs addressed. The VA is doing well on that, much better than they have done in the past, but we're still a long way from going because, as you know, our female veterans have higher rates of unemployment. They're usually single mothers. If they've suffered from military sexual trauma, they need access to many times female providers, which the VA is striving to do, but yet we're still far behind there. So I have seen some progress in those areas. I'm encouraged by that. I think we have some great legislators that we could go to advance what we need. So I greatly appreciate that as well.
Thank you. Michael, what about from your point of view? Try to you're muted.
I think there we go. I hardly agree with Mary Kay's comments upon access to care. As a disabled veteran myself, I've been gratified to see that there's been improvement over the last 10 years or so in access to care. And in Hawaii, we've got the choice program. So it doesn't mean that we don't need more effort in this area, but I've been really gratified with how much they've improved. And in fact, I have a medical appointment this week with the VA, and they won't leave me alone to make sure that I have the time and the date and where to go. I got a phone call today. I got a text message. So I think they've improved, and I think they could do better. I'm always concerned about the homeless veterans. Our numbers are not bad in Hawaii, but they're not good. And they obviously have the more difficult time getting information. And they may not have access to computers. And we have, for example, on our OVS website, a great deal of information. We got the newsletters, we've got access links, all the major VA access links, who we are, how to get a hold of us. So anyone that has access to a computer has access to a lot of information from us. Obviously, in order to have more outreach, it's a cost item because it entails people. It's been a little tough the last 3 months because of the lockdown, But I hope that, some of the improvements that we had before the lockdown are going to come back after the lockdown. But outreach is always a challenge. We have a lot of ways of doing that, but it can always be improved.
So are services available on the neighbor islands, or does everybody have to come to Honolulu for medical care?
Well, I think it depends on what care you want, how disabled you are. On a Maui, we have a clinic, and we have a dedicated doctor and a staff, nurses, that take care of veterans. And if you're over 30%, they take care of 100% of all your medical care and your drugs, no out of pocket, right here on Maui. We don't have an audiologist yet, but they're looking to get one. I had an interesting experience. This is the VA disability side, where I had to get retested, and they sent me to Oahu because there was nobody on island that was signed up to be qualified to do VA disability. So I went to Oahu, and I met with the audiologist, and guess what? She had just flown in from Oahu. From Maui. We both flew in from Maui to have the test on Oahu, but there was no place on Maui for them to do the test. I brought that to the attention of the director, and they are in the process of bringing in an audiologist full-time on Maui right now. They're working on that right now. So there's a lot that they can do right here on this island.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you.
If I could add to that, spot on. It really depends on what your disability is. I too am a disabled veteran. I have to fly to Oahu a couple times a year to see a certain type of neurologist because we don't have that one here. We lack an audiologist. We have maybe one of each specialty, one podiatrist. So if you have or need specialty care, you're going to have to fly to Oahu. I will give kudos to the VA in terms, we just got our second doctor here on Kauai. We have needed one for so long, and he came in earlier this year. So he has made a big difference having 2 doctors on the staff of our CBOC. And I'm really excited to see Vice Admiral Dr. Robinson as the new director for the Pacific Healthcare System, because I don't think a better person could have been selected. He's worked with the VA, and he was the Navy Surgeon General. So I think we're going to see even greater strides with the VA in terms of our care.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, both of you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, is Ren Kaopiko? Not yet.
You can go and if you want to just read off all the people who testified.
Well, we'll be waiting for Ren Kaopiko. Let me go over the list of testifiers for Mr. Pico. Ron Hahn, Director in Support. Theodore Allen Peck, President of the Naval Academy Alumni Association for Hawaii. In support, Reverend Andrew Kikuta, Hawaii Kai Community Church in support. Blair Suzuki in support. David Oride in support. Jesse Dowsett in support. Brad Kitsu in support. Steve Colon in support. Roger Bright in support. Kristen Takushi in support. Thomas Chopai or Chopay in support. Charles Harris in support. Jonathan Kalekahi in support. Patrick Blanco in support. Orlinda Faagiai in support. Amy Luke in support. Justin Uale in support. Alma Graki in support. Kamaili Aluli in support. Harvey Maxwell Copper in support. And Kaulana Aoki also in support. Do we have Mr. Kaupiko? Not yet. Well, in the absence of him coming up on screen, my recommendation would be to advise and consent on all 3 nominees who are excellent They have a tremendous amount of experience and qualifications. So I'll take a recess.
You wanna just recess?
Yeah, recess. Okay, we're back in session. We've confirmed, conferred. And so the recommendation is to confirm all three GMs, GM 820, Michael Lilly, GM 821, Mary K. Hertog, and GM 822, Rin Kalpiko. So chair goes aye.
Vice Chair votes yes. Senator Baker.
Aye.
Senator Favela is excused. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. This concludes the hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.